Just days after P. Diddy reached a settlement with Cassie after her Me Too claims against him, 2 more Me Too claims have been made against him. He just can't seem to escape it. And we asked, why are all of these Me Too lawsuits happening seemingly at the same time? Jamie Foxx was also accused recently, and Axl Rose was also accused, amongst others, all in the lead up to Thanksgiving. And it turns out that Thanksgiving Day this year was the expiration date for something called the Adult Survivors Act, which was modeled after a similar law in New York that allowed child victims of abuse to file civil lawsuits against their alleged abusers, because that means that they don't have to abide by the normal
statute of limitations
for those crimes to have a lawsuit heard in court. So this is only in New York State, but that naturally would implicate a lot of celebrities for anything that happens in New York. If they did this in California, I'm sure this is something similar, or even another avalanche of Me Too cases would happen. But it expired on Thanksgiving Day. So that's why you saw this big flurry of Me Too accusations coming out seemingly all at once, like it was some kind of coordinated effort. It kind of was.
Part of it is like, if you come in at the last minute, then it encourages people to settle and just get it out of the news.
It does. Yeah, and that's what Diddy did with Cassie's lawsuit, or threatened lawsuit. And now it looks like he's going to have to do that 2 more times. So another lawsuit was started.
He probably should have waited until the bill ran out and then settled that first one.
Yeah, but it's like now... the sooner you settle it, the sooner that people will stop talking about it.
As I give advice to the scumbag, right?
But like another lawsuit was brought forward, and it's from a woman who claims she was assaulted by P. Diddy when she was a college student in Syracuse in 1991. This is a 32-year-old claim that because of this law, she is allowed to bring forward. And we won't get into all the details there, but she is not anonymous. There is another anonymous accuser, as well as a friend of hers, who also made have launched a lawsuit against him, claiming that him and a music producer named Aaron Hall assaulted them in Aaron Hall's apartment, also in the 90s, after they met at a record label party. The record label is also being implicated in the lawsuit, so it looks like they're going to get payouts from everyone involved, but they're remaining anonymous. I just don't know what to say at this point, because these stories are so repetitive. It seems like they all echo each other and have the same plot points. It's like a movie.
I don't agree with the ability to remain anonymous. These things. I don't think that's the right to face your accusers. One thing, obviously, but also it's the type of thing that would absolutely encourage someone who didn't. That's not what I'm saying about these people, but I'm saying that a very thrifty grifter would be more than happy to. That'll be the name of my movie when I make it.
Love it.
Thrifty grifter. But it's like a grifter who wants to take a shot from the shadows and not have to actually be identified. It encourages bad behavior. I understand that the point of it is also to encourage those who have actually suffered severe atrocities on behalf of another person. It encourages them to come forward, right? Like, I get the point of it. It's just, it's kind of the same way when we talk about, like, I feel the same way about when they talk about hate speech laws, right? Like, yeah, sure, it's great in theory, but you can't police speech and expect the outcome to be good, right? There's just, it's too dangerous to allow that.
Mm-hmm. So the story of this specific lawsuit,
it also makes it harder for people to buy credibility.
Yeah.
Like, you automatically, you start from a net negative with the court of public opinion when you aren't willing to be known by name.
Mm-hmm. And what this sounds like is just someone who regrets a certain sexual experience that they had, and then later on reinterprets it retroactively as a trauma that they suffered.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I know the truth of the situation. I don't. But here's the basic point by point story. she and her friend were at this record label's party. They were getting drunk and handsy and flirting with P. Diddy and his friend Aaron Hall. They go back to Aaron Hall's apartment while drunk. I'm sure they were all under the influence of different drugs and alcohol. And then claim that they were coerced into sex and that Aaron Hall and Diddy assaulted both of them repeatedly. And the way that this sounds, just on its face, is coerced is a heavily debated term. Like, I don't know what coerced into sex means. Does it mean that just because she was under the influence of alcohol that she was forced? Coerced doesn't mean forced. I mean, just the fact that you went back to one of their apartments in general, it has certain implications. And to deny that is idiotic. It's ridiculous. And I'm tired of people denying that sexual liberation has a part to play in this. This is the consequences of sexual liberation blowing up in everyone's faces, and no one is satisfied with the way things stand at this point. These women regret doing certain things that they engaged in voluntarily. I'm not saying these two women in particular, but many of the Me Too accusers, they, you know, took a gamble by hooking up with a producer or a director, hoping to get resources and opportunities out of them. They had that gamble, you know, not turn out the way that they planned. And then retroactively, they interpret this experience as an assault or a trauma or a violation of some kind. When in reality, you just did something that was objectively degrading and undignified and unbecoming, and you can't face what you did or what situation you put yourself in. And the fact that women act like this is the best argument for women being accompanied by male chaperones that I have ever seen. Am I wrong? Prove me wrong. Change my mind. Women should be accompanied by male chaperones because they clearly are not able to properly exercise agencies as free adults in this world of sexual liberation where everything goes. That is my case against the Me Too movement, is that this would have never happened without the sexual revolution. Nobody look, I don't know the truth of this, and I'm sure that Diddy is a sexual degenerate and a perv, and he's been, you know, accused of doing gross things behind the scenes in the entertainment industry for decades. And that's what everyone said when the original Cassie lawsuit came about. And they posted these sketchy videos of him with 15-year-old Justin Bieber. And who knows what they got up to in those 48 hours where he, you know, was in charge of Justin Bieber. Did they go to some degenerate orgy? And then him being the mentor and legal guardian of Usher when he was also 15 years old. It's all extremely sketchy. And I assume the worst of all of these celebrities.
I would like
but at the same time, the women that accuse Hollywood men of violating them in all of these ways, they also have a part to play in the story.
I would like to find a middle ground where adult females find the agency
that
to be
is
able
not
to,
possible.
Look, you're an adult female.
Not.
You have the agency to choose when to go somewhere you want to go, when to remove yourself from a situation when you think it's going to be dangerous to you. I don't believe for a second that you're the only woman in the world that can do that. I think other women can do that. I just think that
not the majority. And we make laws and we make societal expectations for the rule, not the exception. I have full faith in myself that I can advocate for myself,
but these are,
understand what situations are posing risks to me.
But we're talking about the exceptions and not the rules. Millions of women go out every day and interact with the opposite sex and don't come back with sexual assault claims. These are the exceptions.
No,
and
you're
not
seeing
the rules.
this because it's being covered in the media.
But the point is millions of people go out every day, including people who spend time with celebrities, go out every day, they party with celebrities, and they don't come back with stories of sexual assault. Women can make those decisions for themselves. The problem is there's too much financial incentive. There's too little requirement of evidence. There's too much guilt placed on the people who dare ask questions that a person who's self-interested, whether assaulted or not, can be brought to bring these types of accusations, because people are always going to put their own needs first. So I think that we have to give the everyday women of this country who go out all the time, spend time with the opposite sex, and don't come back and claim that they have been R-worded by someone when maybe they did, maybe they didn't. The problem me and you always have in these stories is that it's like, at the end of the day, what do we know? We weren't there. We don't know if this actually happened or not. Do I believe that P. Diddy probably has a bunch of deviant behavior in his past? Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Do I believe that it's financially and socially incentivized for women to make up stories like this because it can get them a quick payout? Yeah, absolutely. I say everyone here ended up in these situations of their own volition. Outside of knowing these people personally, I pass no judgments other than you all got yourself into this situation. Get yourselves out of it.
I am in full agreement with you that the entire system is broken and that these women are incentivized to bring forward their accusations, however credible they are, after the media plays into it and gets support of public opinion on a certain side. But that doesn't change the conclusion that I think we are all avoiding, which is that most women are not capable of assessing situations that pose risks to their safety and well-being.
I think it's the opposite. I think most women are, and the ones that aren't are the ones you hear about.
And that's the big lie of feminism and sexual liberation, by the way, is that women can take responsibility and power over all of their decisions in and out of the bedroom. And that is not true. And we have found that out from Me Too.
I mean,
Me Too should be our lesson.
There's 330.
That is not possible.
There's 330 million people in this country. Half of those. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It always happens at an important part. Thank you, guys. I do need a new crisis party sound effect. I need a crisis party sound effect.
I think we're having like the least socially acceptable conversation about Me Too that's ever happened before.
There are 330 million people in this country, half of which are women, and a great majority of them go out every day and interact with the opposite sex. Hey! Did they get a free one? It cut off early. And they go out every day and they spend time with the opposite sex and they don't end up in this situation. I think that I just see it as the inverse of what you're saying. You're saying that you think that this is a result of the majority. I think this is a result of the minority being amplified by a media that wants clicks and a government that has incentivized these people to do it with certain laws, like these laws.
Not all of these situations end up being national sensations that are covered by journalists and talked about on social media, that's for sure. But how many of those women that are, as you said, going out by the millions, interacting with the opposite sex, how many of them are, you know, maybe not getting violated in some egregious way, but end up with unplanned pregnancies, getting abortions, having to be pumped up on birth control for years of their life, walking around in society in a state of phantom pregnancy that changes their hormones so they can't make proper decisions. How many of them are ending up with astronomical body counts that affect their ability to pair bond in the future and have long-lasting marriages? And then how many divorces happen as a result of that? I mean, the level at which this has destroyed human connection and relationship, and the dynamic between men and women cannot be overstated. And Me Too is a big reality check for everyone, I think. And it implicates the men that took advantage of the circumstances of sexual liberation to get free sex from women who are on birth control using contraception. And it implicates the women who leveraged their sex appeal to try to obtain resources and opportunities and positions from men. All of these people can wallow in this mess that they've created for themselves, but no one wants to talk about winding back the clock.
The problem is
and sacrificing all of these material gains.
To change that is to turn this into an authoritarian society.
Yes,
that we will not be doing. At least I don't see happening in any.
Realistically, not going to happen. But I can at least.
If you value liberty and freedom, women need to have the freedom to make their own mistakes, and men have to have the freedom to let themselves fall into these traps and make their own mistakes.
Women actually did already have sexual freedom before the sexual revolution. The only difference now is that they're being shielded from the consequences of their decisions in and out of the bedroom.
I agree.
So
I mean, I
birth
agree
control
that for the
shields
birth control,
women and men from the consequences of casual commitment-free sex. The sexual revolution wasn't about people taking responsibility for these decisions. It was just about libertinism. So everyone had the ability to hook up with whoever they wanted before that. Yeah. We didn't gain any new liberty from the sexual revolution in reality. That's just the selling point.
The freedom to act of your own volition and make your own choices is going to come with societal problems. And we're seeing that, yes, sure. I still believe that
never without a cost.
The amplification of a lot of these stories has a lot to do with the fact that people will click and read these stories. Women will write articles that women will read. Women will make
They're
TikToks.
monetizing their trauma.
Women will make TikToks where they do their makeup and talk about this stuff, and millions of women will watch. Men will go watch manosphere videos, giving you the complete opposite perspective of the same incident. It's an ecosystem. It's a marketplace ecosystem that is all coming back to freedom, the freedom to make your own choices, the freedom to sleep with who you want, the freedom to make your mistakes, the freedom to get out of those mistakes by not screwing up or making the wrong choice. Now, right now, we are seeing that men are walking away, as they say. Men are choosing not to get married because the government has made it too risky for a guy to get married in a culture where women and men equally don't seem to value commitment very much. Why would you risk all your income if you have a 55% chance of divorce? Well, that does suck, but the government shouldn't be involved in the marriage contract anyways, right? At least I don't think that the government should be involved in the contract. I just don't see this as the type of thing that whether you believe that it's the majority of the problem is women being in a lack of agency, whether I believe that a minority of women screwed up for everyone by making these cases public and it being a problem, it all comes back to the freedom we have to make our own choices. And I will always choose freedom and free will over somebody intervening and telling me I can't do something, even if it's
just that copy pasta all over again. Women will do shit like this and then wonder why there were severe limitations on their sovereignty for all of human history in every civilization. Yep. This is why. Okay, just to close out this topic, I wanted to read the statement from Diddy's lawyer. These are fabricated claims falsely alleging misconduct from over 30 years ago, filed at the last minute. Nothing but a money grab. Because of Mr. Combs' fame and success, he's an easy target for anonymous accusers who lie without conscience or consequence for financial benefit. The New York legislature surely did not intend or expect the Adult Survivors Act to be exploited by scammers. The public should be skeptical and not rush to accept these bogus allegations. So even if that's not true about these specific accusers, it definitely applies to some Me Too claims.
Which is why it's hard.
And Jamie Foxx also, for the record, denies his accusation, which is that he assaulted this woman on a rooftop bar in 2015. That's at least more recent than 32 years ago.
Yeah. And we're going to continue to see more claims like this made, even without the Adult Survivors Act, because it's incentivized for people to do this because these guys want to settle out of court. And in a lot of cases, just like a corporation will settle out of court quickly when a bogus lawsuit comes in because it's quicker and easier to do so, a celebrity is in most ways a corporation unto themselves because their name is their brand. This is just the cost of doing business for a lot of these celebrities. Does it suck that society has made this possible? Kind of, I guess, yeah, but they chose to live that life. They have the freedom to do so, so they have to now deal with this stuff. And that's it's different for me and you, I think too, because like me and you are we don't live in that world. So we're looking at it from the 30,000 foot view, where it's very hard to look at it and be like, look, he's probably a scumbag and she is incentivized to make this claim. I take no sides.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.